Some conditionals exercises. Hi everyone, this is Teacher Mo, so let's go. In the previous video, we talked about different types of conditionals, and in today's video, we want to do some exercises about them. This is the example that we already discussed. If you heat ice, it melts. We said that every conditional sentence consists of two clauses. An if clause, which is also called the main clause, and the result clause. Here in this example, you see that in the if clause, we have the simple present tense. In the result clause, we also have simple present. So this is conditional type 0 or the zero conditional. We use it to talk about facts or routines. Let's do some exercises. Here you see we have some conditional sentences. We want to fill in the blanks using the given verbs. Look at the first one. If you, red and green, you, brown. This is a fact. So the zero conditional. So the simple present tense in the if clause and the simple present verb tense also in the result clause. So what is the answer? If you mix red and green, you get brown. Tell me about the second one. If you drop a glass on the floor, it breaks. Good. It breaks. We have a third person singular subject here. Simple present, so we need to add s at the end of the verb. Tell me about number 3. You see we have the verb to be here. So we should use the present form of the verb to be. What are present forms of the verb to be? Am is are. So which one should I use here? Are. If babies are hungry, they cry. Tell me about number 4. When you add sugar, the sauce tastes sweet. Again, we have third person singular subject, so we need to add s at the end of the verb because it is the simple present verb tense. Water boils if you heat it to 100 degrees on the Celsius scale. Look at number 5. In number 5, you see we have the result clause at the beginning of the sentence. So there is no commas between these two clauses. If you remember, we said that in a conditional sentence, when we have the if clause at the beginning, we should use a comma after it. But when we use the result clause at the beginning, like number 5, there is no comma between these two clauses. Okay, next one. Plants die if they, so we want to use the negative form. Simple present, negative form. So what are the auxiliary verbs that we use in the simple present verb tense when we want to make it negative? Good. Do or does. Which one should we use here? Do or does. If they do, negative form. If they don't get enough water. Tell me about number 7. If you put water in the freezer, it becomes ice. When the sun rises, the street lights go out. The zero conditional or conditional type 0. We use them to talk about facts or routines. This is the time to talk about conditional type 1 or the first conditional. If I study hard, I will pass the exam. So look at the if clause, simple present. If I study, simple present verb tense. I will pass the exam. Will plus base form of the verb. Pass base form of the verb. So in this type of conditional, you see we have the simple present tense in the if clause and will plus base form in the result clause. This is the structure of the first conditional. We use it to talk about real situations in the present and future. Okay, exercises. We start with the same example. So in the if clause, simple present. In the result clause, simple future. So if I study, I will or I'll pass the exams. If the sun shines, you see we have a singular subject here, so we add s at the end of the verb. Simple present. And result clause, simple future. We will walk into town. Tell me about the third one quickly. If he has, very good, a temperature, he will see the doctor. If my friends come, I'll be very happy. If she earns a lot of money, she'll fly to New York. Number 6. If we travel to London, we will visit the museums, of course. Number 7, which is the last one. If you wear sandals in the mountains, you will sleep or you'll sleep. Now conditional type 2 or the second conditional. This is the example that we talked about in the previous video. If I found her address, I would send her an invitation. Look at the if clause. If I found, you know, found is the past form of the verb find. So here we have the simple past tense in the if clause. And in the result clause, you see we have the modal verb would plus base form of the verb. And this is the structure of the second conditional. We use it to talk about hypothetical or unreal events or situations in the present and future. Let's do some exercises now. If I, so we said that simple past in the if clause, come. What is the past form of the verb come? Came. Okay, if I came home earlier, I would prepare dinner. Modal plus base form of the verb. If we, simple past, if we lived in Rome, Francesco would visit us. If Tim and Tom, we want to use the correct form of the verb to be. Simple past. What are past forms of the verb to be? Was, where. Which one should we use here? Where. If Tim and Tom were older, they would play in our hockey team. Tell me about number 4, an important one. If he, we should use the past form of the verb to be. So, what should I say here? If he. The correct answer is if he were. You know, normally we should say if he was. But in the second conditional, we use plural form of the verb to be even for singular subjects. If he were, if I were, if Mary were. So we use the plural form of the verb to be even for singular subjects in the second conditional. Although was is not wrong. You know, native speakers usually use the singular form, but grammatically we should use the plural form of the verb to be here. If he were my friend, I would invite him to my birthday party. Number 5, if Susan studied harder, she would be better at school. If Susan studied harder, she would be better at school. If they, past form of the verb have, if they had enough money, they would buy a new car. Conditional type 3 or the third conditional. If I had found her address, I would have sent her an invitation. Look at the if clause. What is the verb tense? Had plus past participle form of the verb. So the verb tense is the past perfect. So in the if clause or the main clause, we have the past perfect tense. Look at the result clause. What is the modal verb? Would plus have plus past participle form of the verb. So this is the structure of the third conditional or conditional type 3. When do we use it? We use it to talk about hypothetical events or situations in the past. If I had found her address, so in reality I didn't find her address. But if I had found her address, I would have sent her an invitation. Exercises. If the weather, past perfect, had plus past participle form of the verb in the if clause. So if the weather had, what is the past participle form of the verb be? Been. If the weather had been nice, they would plus have, they would have plus past participle form of the verb. They would have played football. We are talking about the past. If the weather had been nice. In reality, the weather was not nice. But if the weather had been nice, they would have played football. If we, so, had plus past participle form of the verb. What is the past participle form of the verb go? Okay, gone. So, if we had gone to a good restaurant, we would have had a better dinner. In reality, we didn't go to a good restaurant. We went to a bad restaurant. But if we had gone to a good restaurant, we would have had a better dinner. If John had learned more words, he would have written a good report. If the boys had taken the bus to school, they would have arrived on time. In reality, the boys didn't take the bus to school, so they were late. But if the boys had taken the bus to school, they would have arrived on time. And the last one, if the teacher had explained the homework, I would have, what is the past participle form of the verb do? Done. I would have done it. So everybody, thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.